24/7. Let me get it on the big screen for you guys. So China's defense assistance to Russia. Beijing attacks Ukraine's military and nuclear facilities. U.S. experts are talking about the first joint Russian-Chinese military operation that launches a new era in the two countries' relations against NATO and the West. The Chinese Army Special Cyber Attack Unit attacked Ukraine's military and nuclear facilities as part of the Russian invasion, according to intelligence reports obtained by the Times. The Chinese were looking for information about Ukraine's nuclear program. The Chinese armed forces have attacked more than 600 websites belonging to the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, while other institutions have suffered thousands of hacking attempts. The information is confirmed by U.S. intelligence services. The U.S. photographs the special unit of the Chinese Liberation Army Unit 61398. The Chinese armed forces are on the side of the Russians. The Chinese offensive began before the end of the Winter Olympics and culminated on February the 23rd, the day before Russian troops and tanks crossed the border. China's cyber attack unit has sought to infiltrate targets ranging from Ukrainian border guards to the National Bank and Railway Authority. The attacks were designed to steal data and explore ways to shut down or disrupt vital defense and civilian infrastructure. The Ukrainians say the Chinese attacks could be distinguished by the tools and methods of the People's Liberation Army Cyber Warfare Unit. So this article is very long, but it does show you that China is working right now hand in hand with Russia in this war, folks. So this is something that happened yesterday that, let me get this on the screen for you guys, that evidently two Mi-8 helicopters from Ukraine military crossed the border yesterday and attacked a Russian oil depot deep inside Russia. And what is very interesting is that Russian air defenses did not shoot these helicopters down. And now Ukraine is coming out and denying that they had any part in this, folks. So it doesn't make sense that two helicopters came from the territory of Ukraine, flew very low to the ground under the radar, and was able to destroy a large part of fuel in Russia. So let me get this on the screen for you guys and bring you up to date on that. That was actually the big news yesterday. We did not do an update yesterday, but this was on the news. Ukraine denies attacking oil depot in Russia. And it is on the big screen, so let me keep on reading. The Russian military, however, had said that the attack on the civilian facility was launched by two Ukrainian helicopters. Kiev has denied any involvement in the overnight attack on an oil depot located on the outskirts of the southern Russian city of Belgorod. Any allegations that it was staged by the country's military are untrue. Ukrainian Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council, Alexei Danilov, said late on Friday, that was last night, for some reason, they say that we did it. In fact, this is not true at all. We do not comment on this, the official stated. Shortly before Danilov's remarks, the Russian Defense Ministry pinned the blame for the incident on the Ukrainian military. The oil depot was a strictly civilian facility and was not affiliated with the country's military in any fashion. Ministry of Defense spokesman Major General Igor Krasnikov said during a news briefing. Two Ukrainian M-24 helicopters entered Russian airspace, flying at an extremely low altitude. Ukrainian helicopters launched a missile attack on a civilian oil depot located on the outskirts of Belgorod. As a result of the missile hits, several tanks were damaged and caught fire. So they don't have a video of this, but this was the breaking news that was on the news yesterday, and it's crazy what is going on around that area. But for some reason, Ukraine folks, Ukraine is denying that they did this. Why would they deny it? Why would Russia attack their own oil depot? It doesn't make sense. So somebody attacked it. I'm going to give you my theory. I think it was U.S. Special Forces who did this. I think the United States military and NATO did this attack in Russia using 2 Ukrainian helicopters. That's my opinion. Because Russia has been bombing the barracks of all of these mercenaries that Ukraine have been inviting to the country to fight on their side, killing a lot of American and British soldiers, folks. Russia has probably killed over 100 British and American soldiers in these military barracks where these mercenaries were sleeping. So I believe that these were either NATO or American Special Forces helicopter pilots that did this, folks. They're the only ones that's trained enough to do something like this, a stealth maneuver, coming low in from the radar, under the radar, and doing this and flying back without being shot down. I think that we did it because Ukraine is denying that they knew anything about it. So this is very, very suspect, and I don't know if we're going to get to the bottom of this, but it is very interesting that the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine is denying that they actually did it. It looks like if they actually did it, they would tell the world, they would be, yay, yay, we struck Russia. You know, we hit them hard, but they're saying that they didn't do it. So I don't know actually who did it. So let me keep on going. I got a lot of articles. I'm just skipping a couple of these things right now. So I'm just going to read this for you. This is coming in from Zero Hedge. Vladimir Zelensky has dismissed 2 of his top generals for being traitors. In a highly unusual move, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has removed 2 of his own generals for being traitors, as he announced in a Friday's post on the presidential website. Today, another decision was made regarding the anti-heroes. Now, I do not have time to deal with all the traitors, but gradually they will be punished, Zelensky said, suggesting that he thinks more traitors are in the ranks, which will soon to be dealt with. So Zelensky, it looks like, has fired 2 of his top generals, folks, and I don't know if they were spies, but that's what's going on. Also, breaking news, Germany approves supply of 1960s military hardware to Ukraine, the media said. Berlin has reportedly okayed the potential shipment of dozens of Czech-owned Soviet-era armored vehicles to Kiev. Germany has given the green light to supply 58 Cold War-era armored vehicles to Ukraine, a spokesman for the Defense Ministry told the Welt newspaper on Friday. While the infantry fighting vehicles are currently owned by a Czech firm, any attempt to transfer them to third parties still requires approval from Berlin due to the end user agreement. The Soviet BMP-1, the military hardware in question, was designed in the 1960s and originally belonged to what was formerly East Germany, but ended up in the inventory of the German military after the fall of Berlin Wall and the reunification of the country. They were transferred to Sweden in the late 1990s, where they were upgraded to a PBV-501 version. So it does look like that Germany are going to be supplying Ukraine with some very, very old equipment. So let me keep on going. I'm just reading some of these articles so we can get you something else on the screen here. So, like I said, folks, it does look like that Russia has laid down the gauntlet, that if any of the European countries want Russian oil or natural gas are going to have to pay in rubles, and this is really upset a lot of people in Europe, and they don't like it. They don't like to be blackmailed by Russia, so they're basically going to be running out of gas. I don't think it's going to be that long, 3 or 4 weeks, but the last couple of reports that we have had is that France, Germany, and the United Kingdom has refused to pay for Russian natural gas in rubles, and now officially Russia has cut off the pipes. So, you know, I don't know what's going to happen, but if you just wait about 3 weeks, you're going to see probably a lot of these companies start shutting down. You can't operate, folks, unless you have something to run your factories on. And a lot of these factories run on Russian natural gas. So I don't know what's going to happen, but the world's in a mess. Jesus Christ is coming back soon, folks. And it does look like that the powers that be are starting to concentrate on the truth tellers. They want to take the people out that is actually telling the truth in the world. And I want to read this next article. Let me get this up on the screen for you, if I can find it. But this next article is about a Texas gentleman that went to live in the Donbass area, and they consider him a hero, folks. This guy right here we're going to talk about now, they consider him a hero. United States veteran who volunteered to fight in Ukraine's war details Kiev's war crimes, presence of jihadi militants. So let me get this up on the big screen for you guys. Now, what has happened just in the last week? They have taken this guy's YouTube channel down for reporting the news, folks. Thousands of foreign nationals poured into Ukraine to fight the Russians in late February and early March after Kiev announced the formation of an international legion. Last week, Russian military estimates about 6,600 foreign mercenaries and terrorists remain active in Ukraine, and that their ranks are dwindling. Oh, this is about this other guy. Okay, we did a report on this about a week ago, that one of these mercenaries that went to fight for Ukraine, they almost killed him, folks. So this is about Henry Hoeft, H-O-E-F-T. He is a 28-year-old U.S. Army veteran who garnered significant media attention following the release of a viral video detailing his escape from Ukraine after being left without weapons and threatened with execution. And he has provided new information on his experiences, including possible war crimes carried out by the Ukrainian forces and the so-called Georgian Legion, the group of fighters that he joined. Speaking to the Gray Zone and providing access to a recent interview he did with a British media, Hoeft said that he joined the infamous Georgian Legion instead of the better-known Ukrainian Foreign Legion because the latter required a contract. Hoeft recalled witnessing how two apparent civilians attempting to pass through the Ukrainian checkpoint only to be black-bagged, taken to a building and have their throats cut. We don't even know if they were actually spies or just people who ran through a checkpoint, he said. The Ohio native also recalled an encounter with a bearded man speaking Aramaic among the Georgian Legion's ranks, suspecting that he was from the Middle Eastern jihadist fighter. Not that it's wrong, not that it's bad. I had a guy with a prayer cap and a big effing beard run up to me. So this is some reports of what's going on. He said he was faced attacks from the Ukrainian government painting him as a Russian stooge, and story after a sarcastically titled story from Rolling Stone in the Daily Mail and New York Magazine painting him as a coward stood by sentiments he expressed in his viral video, including about the dangers of being shot in the back by your own side. So anyway, I posted a video of this guy last week, and everybody said it was fake, but evidently it's not fake, folks. Evidently, this is a true story, and I cannot find that other article I was going to read about. Oh, here we go. So this is the one I was talking about. So let's go back and cover this one before we end up tonight. But I want to show you that this Texan, folks, they call him Texas. He went to Donbass, and he had a very popular YouTube channel, and YouTube took it down, folks, for telling the truth because he was pro-Russian. I'm not pro-Russian, folks, even though Adrian disagrees with me. I tell you information from both sides. So let me show you this next article coming in from Sputnik News. Let me get this on the screen for you guys. So what you're looking at is an article from Sputnik News, and we are on the big screen. Nazism is a disease. Texan came to Donbass to protect people and tell the truth about the 8-year-long war. So this is the guy right here, folks, right in the middle. This is the guy from Texas that he went to live in the Donbass area back in 2014. Russell Bonner Bentley, a 61-year-old American from Texas, says he could not stop himself from coming to the rescue of the people of Donbass as they confronted fascism just like their great-grandfathers did 80 years ago. First as a soldier and now as a war correspondent, Bentley is defending the land where he wants to stay for the rest of his life. So a lot of people would call this man a traitor, folks, but he believes what he's living what he believes. He said, I have been here for 8 years as a soldier and as a human aid volunteer, said Bentley, who was giving the code name Texas after joining the Donbass militia in 2014. I worked with a Sut Varemi, the Essence of Time combat unit, and also with a Vostok battalion and on the battalion Spetsnaz. I was doing some very hot positions, Donetsk Airport, Sparta, Edvedka. I can't pronounce these names. He said the Donbass veteran saw a lot of interesting stuff then. However, what he has seen in the last week since Russian Operation Z began is something completely different. According to Bentley, the Russians are really here now and they're doing great work, he says. Texas is laughing at the Western mainstream press that has been claiming for the last 8 years that the Ukrainian armed forces were fighting against Russian regular troops in Donbass. You know, it's like the old joke about the guy who asked the Ukrainian general, why don't you attack Donbass? And he says, because the Russians are there. And then he says, well, why don't you attack Crimea? And he says, because the Russians are really there, Bentley notes. He said the Western mainstream press narrative that Russian forces have become bogged down or the Ukrainian military are defeating them has nothing to do with reality. According to the American war correspondent, the Russians are going slowly because the Ukrainian military and their Nazi battalions are using civilians as human shields, thus forcing Russians to go basically door to door, he explains. They use them as human shields. That's just not the tactic. It's one of their strategies, Bentley says. They're hiding behind their own civilians, in fact, and it's truly cowardly. It's truly treacherous. It's truly dastardly. Those who still believe that there are no Nazis in Ukraine should wake up, according to the veteran. Their Nazi battalions are genuine Nazis. They have swastika tattoos. They say, Hi Hitler, and Slava Bandera, who was a German Nazi collaborator, a real terrible war criminal. The DPR and LPR advance backed by the Russian forces is going slowly, but it's going according to the plan, notes Texas. He believes that within 2 weeks, Mariupol, the neo-Nazi Azov battalion stronghold, will fall. Then it will be the main fortified positions on the Donetsk front, which is Marinka and Avdiivka. He said, adding that once that falls, it's going to be a domino effect. So this is the guy right here. This is what they call it. This is Russell Bentley, They call him Texas in Ukraine, but now he is living over there helping them, and he's a war correspondent giving the breaking news. He said, the people of Donbass, they are the salt of the earth and the cream of humanity. The people in Donbass City and Donetsk republics are filled with joy to meet the Russians, says Bentley. I mean, this marks the beginning of the end of the war, and it's been a long war for everybody here. The war correspondent notes, 8 years is twice as long as the Second World War. It's been horrific the whole time here. So anyway, I'm not going to read the whole article, but this is very interesting, folks, that you have a guy from the great state of Texas going over to a foreign country to defend the people of Ukraine that have been killed and harassed and mutilated by these Nazi Azov battalions. So he's telling the real truth. You see, the American news media, the Western news media, they don't want the truth to come out. There's another guy, Patrick Lancaster. Patrick Lancaster is an American reporter, and his YouTube channel is still up. And he's got over 200,000 subscribers now, but he does daily news briefings of the